Okay, so next we're going to be creating the high order component, the layout. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to create it right now. Yeah, and then of course we don't have it, but we're going to create it in a minute. So inside just wrapping the switch, we're going to bring something called a layout, just like that, open and close. And inside layout, we're going to put the switch, just like that. Oh, I made a mistake. Let's go back. I'm going to copy and paste it. Whatever. So okay, so this layout is going to be wrapping whatever component we pass right here. We get an error because it's not defined. So if we go to home, we always going to be wrapping everything inside layout. If we go to articles or news or videos or whatever, layout is going to be running first. So we don't have this component. I'm going to just put a comment over here and import this component. We don't have it. We're going to create it in a second. So it's going to be layout. And then we're going to be importing from, and I'm going to leave it empty because we don't have it yet. So outside components inside the source directory, I'm going to create a new folder that is going to be called HOC, high order components. We're going to have one for now, but then we're going to create a few. So inside here, I'm going to create a new one that is going to be called layout. And then layout is going to take a file. It's going to be layout.js, just like that. Okay, really, really simple. So now layout, first let's import the file. / is going to be HOC, then / layout and / layout. There we go. We don't have anything just yet. So inside layout, what we are going to do pretty much, we're going to create a class-based component. We can have a state, and we're going to be passing the header and whatever information that we pass inside, the children. Don't worry, it's going to make sense in a minute. We're going to say import and then React, then comma, and then we're going to bring component because, it's a state component. So it's a class-based component. So we're going to say React. Good. What else? We're going to create a class. It's going to be class layout and extends, and then of course components. Now this one is going to have a state, so I'm going to create a state, and for now it's going to be equal to nothing. So this class is going to be rendering something and is going to be returning something, of course. So we're going to say return and then open and close. For now we're going to put a div and nothing yet. So now I'm going to need to export this. So export default and then layout. And now if I say layout right here we get layout. So what is happening? We are just telling React to render this layout. Now the thing is that we don't want to do just that. We want to render the layout and we want to render whatever we are passing inside. So we are going to go right here, and since we have something, we are sharing something inside layout, we have access to this code. And we have access inside this .props.children. Oh, children. There we go. So now this layout is going to render with the layout and with whatever information we have inside as children. So that's why we get home. But for example, if I go right here and say header, and then I say footer, just like that, is going to be rendering the header inside whatever children that we are passing and then footer. So now inside routes, if I create more routes and we navigate to them, it's going to be always rendering the header and the footer no matter what, but it's not doing from inside the route. It's doing it from within the layout. So, really smart. So then when you need to change something on the layout, you can do it directly here and you don't need to go route by route changing things. That's the main idea of a high order component. Okay, that's good. So, for now, it's good. So the next thing that we need to do, we need to create kind of a CSS for the layout, and we need to create a footer. So I'm going to pause the video and we're going to be doing that in 2 seconds. Right, so now since we have the layout, the main layout, we're going to need to add some classes. That's the main idea of having a layout. So I'm going to go to layout and create a new CSS file. It's going to say layout and then CSS, just like that. So I made a mistake. It's layout. There we go. So this layout CSS is going to have the pretty much the default CSS classes for the HTML. We're going to be using CSS modules, but for this one, I'm just going to use a standard CSS. So I'm going to say margin and then 0, then padding, then 0. And we're going to have a tiny, just a grayish background. So it's going to be E, Z, and EZ. There we go. Just, it's kind of a grayish color. I made a mistake. Let's start again. There we go. So for the text decoration of the links, I'm going to remove the text decoration because no one likes it. And what else? We need to use Google Fonts. So we're going to be using Roboto, just like always. So I'm going to go to Google, Google Fonts, and then Roboto. I'm going to bring this one, and then of course, select this font. And then to customize, and I'm going to bring the light one, the medium, and the bold. Then of course, embed. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to go to the index.html, and I'm going to paste it. You know, just standard stuff. I'm going to copy the font family. I'm going to go back, I'm going to close this, going to go back to the layout CSS and just paste the font family. So right now we don't have the CSS loaded inside the layout. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to say import and then dot / and then layout. And then of course CSS. Since it's in the same directory, it's gonna read it. So if I go to create React app, we have the background and we have Roboto. So, you know, that's working for now. So what else? We're going to be using CSS modules. So to enable this, remember that we need to do a few things. We need to do React and eject everything. We're going to need to do that first. So, okay, we're going to go to the terminal. I'm going to press Control-C and then of course do clear. Now to run the eject, remember that we need to do npm run and then eject. And if you can, only if you want, you need to, if you want, you can save, you can store a version of this on a different place, just in case. Remember that whenever we run npm run eject, we cannot go back to the previous state. So I'm going to press enter. It's going to do it. I'm going to pause the video and be right back. Okay, so that it's done. I'm going to do npm start again. It's gonna start the development server, and yeah, we want to. Okay, now we need to enable the CSS modules. So I'm gonna go to config, and we need to edit the webpack config dev and the production one. So I'm gonna go to dev. I'm gonna scroll down until I find something that says CSS. 1 second, just keep scrolling down. This is the one. This is line 160. So right here we have import loaders. What we need to say modules, and it's going to be equal to true, and then a comma, of course. And then we need to set up the name for this. So it's going to be a local, just like that, just local, ident, and then name, just 3 words. So right here, what we need to do, a square bracket. I'm going to put name, then underscore, and we're going to put local, and then again underscore, and we're going to use again just brackets, so square brackets. I'm going to say hash, and now colon, and then base 64, just like that, then colon, and we're going to do 5, just like this. Just copy it like it is, and then of course it ends. Okay, so this is what the main configuration, but just for the development config. For the production, we need to do something else. You know, it pretty much looks the same, but it has more stuff. So this one, it's ready. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to copy all of this, just the local ident name, because it's a lot of things. We typed a lot of things, and I don't want to type it again. Go to the production one, and you need to scroll down until we find the one for the CSS. It's going to be this one. So right here, we can have line 169, and right here, import loaders and everything else. So we need, again, to do the same thing. We need to say modules true, and then put the name right here. So I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to paste it. Local ident name, local, and the hash. Okay, so, you know, that looks good. And I'm gonna go right here at the top, and I'm gonna say modules, and then colon, and then true. Okay, so that is ready. Good. So I'm gonna save it. And of course, the application is still working. We are not using the modules just yet. We're gonna use them in a minute. So okay, so we have a layout. It's using the layout CSS, and now we need to create a header. We need to start creating a header so we can render the header and the footer. You're not gonna start with the home. Now, if we go to the final project, we know that with the header, we have just like kind of a black bar. We have a button to open the side nav, and we have a logo. So that's the first things that we need to create. Okay, so I'm gonna go right here, and I'm gonna go to components, and I'm gonna start creating the components for this. So first one, we're gonna create one that's gonna be called header. And inside header, we should create a file that is going to be rendering the actual header. So I'm going to create a new file that is going to be called header.js. And I got to warn you, this part, the header and the side nav and everything else, is going to get a little bit confusing to create. But don't worry, we're going to go through the same thing several times. Okay, so it's a header. Now we need to create a component for the header, and it's going to be just a stateless component. But first, we need to import and then React from React. What else? I'm going to create just a component. It's going to be const header, and the header is going to bring is going to return just a function. Good. So now I'm going to just return something dumb, so we can at least see that we are getting the header. So I'm going to say return, open and close, and I'm going to be returning a header tag, just like that. And inside, we're going to say header. We need to export this. So I'm going to say export default, and then header. Oh, there we go. Header. And now inside the layout, we need to import this. We need to import header. So I'm going to go right here at the top. I'm going to say import header from, and then // then // and we need to go to components / then header, then / and then header. And right here, we're going to make a reference to that component. That's it. And if we go to the other application, we are still getting the header. So this is working. If I put whatever, it's going to render header whatever. So, you know, this is working. Just so far, it's working correctly. So now on the on the final one, we have just a button, we have a logo, and then we have a bar. So we're going to be creating this right now. So I'm going to go right here, I'm going to delete this. And now I'm going to create a new wrapper, just a div. And then we can have a class name for this one, just like that. And we can have a class name for the header. So I'm going to say class name equal to whatever. Now we are going to be using CSS modules. So we need to bring the CSS to create a CSS and start bringing the classes. Okay, so I'm going to go to header right here to the folder header.js. I'm going to create a new file, and it's going to be called header.css, of course. Now inside here, we need to import this style sheet as a module. So I'm going to say import style from open and close // then header.css. So now this style, this header CSS, it's inside my file. So I can use style dot and whatever class I want to use. I'm going to render something. I'm going to say header, whatever. So we need to give a class to the header and the div inside. You know, we have a black background, and then we have a logo. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to go right here to the style, to the header, and I'm going to be passing the style for the style for the container, the header class. So this one is going to be style header. We make a reference to what we've imported right here at the top, and then we say dot. And I'm going to say header, makes sense. And this one is going to be called style dot and header and then opt, because, you know, it's header options. kind of a makes sense in my brain. I don't know if it's making sense on yours. Finally, you can name this whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Okay, so inside header, we need to start passing the classes for this. So, okay, so we're gonna go right here. I'm gonna say header, and it's a class, and I'm gonna open and close. We're gonna have a background. It's gonna be kind of a black background. So it's gonna be this, and then 24, 24, 24. It's kind of a black background. We're gonna have a border. So I'm gonna say border, and then bottom, and it's gonna be 1 pixel solid. And in this case, it's going to be full black. What else? We have the header option, and the main idea to give a class to this div. It's because we're going to use flex. So I'm going to say display. Oh, made a mistake. Sorry. Let's go again. I don't have the original Mac keyboard. This one it's kind of suck, but you know. Okay, so we have flex. Let's go back to the original project. Going to reload the application and check if at least we get something. Okay, we are not getting it. Let me just double check why. Okay, I'm sorry for that. I found the problem. The thing is, I forgot to restart the development server. Whenever we make changes on the configuration, the main configuration of Webpack, we need to restart the server so it can read again. So that was a problem. You know, just it's working right here. We get the black background. Okay, so that is good. You know, we get the black background. Everything looks like it's working. So now what we need to do, we need to start creating the logo, just bringing the logo and creating the button to open the site now. Okay, so now first we're going to do the logo. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to create a function that is going to be returning the logo. I'm going to open and close. And right here, I'm going to create the function to return the logo. So I'm going to say const, and it's going to be logo. It's going to be equal to just a function that is going to be open and close, just like that. And this one is going to be returning something. Now, what we're going to be returning is going to be a link. We don't have a link right now. We don't have this just yet. We need to import it from React Router DOM, if you remember. So I'm going to go right here at the top, and we need to import a link. Import, then open and close, and we import link. There we go, link. And then it's going to be from, and then React, then router, and then DOM. Okay, we have link. Now remember, whenever we use a link, we need to pass the to. And in this case, since it's the logo, it's going to go to home. So right here, what we're going to have pretty much is going to be an EMG. So this EMG is going to have an alt, and it's going to be NBA logo, something that makes sense. I'm going to self-close the tag, and we need to pass the source. So it's going to be src. And if you remember, I gave you the public folder with all the images. The logo, it's inside there. So I'm going to say /images/ and then nba underscore logo.png. Good. So we get the logo. It's really, really ugly, but we get it. I'm going to pass a style to this link. So I'm going to say class name is going to be equal to, and then style.logo. We don't have the class just yet. So I'm going to go right here and create the class for this logo. Remember that we are using flex. So what I want to do, I want to flex to the left, this icon that we don't have it just yet. And then to the right, just the logo, the container for the logo. So I'm going to say dot logo, open and close, and we're going to pass a flex grow for this. It's going to be 1, and I'm going to give it padding from the top, padding top, and just 8 pixels. Good. Now the logo has an image, so I'm going to say dot logo and then emg, open and close, and it's gonna be just a little bit smaller because it's kind of too big. This is the original logo from the NBA website. I don't know if you use the NBA website. I use it because I watch the games of the NBA through the NBA application, and the application really, really sucks. It's really bad, guys. You know, it's really, really bad. It's one of the worst applications or websites I've ever seen. You know, this one is going to be much better than the original one. So okay, we get the logo. So we get the logo and everything looks kind of the same, looks nice. So now we need to create the left side navigation for this. So okay, I'm gonna go right here back to the header, and we need to create the bar for this. So I'm gonna go right here at the bottom. I'm gonna open and close. I'm gonna say nav and then bars, just like that. I'm gonna go open and close. Again, we're just gonna create a function that is gonna be returning some code. Now, in addition, right here with the logo, we are returning just some JSX. So what we could do, we can delete all of this, delete the return, and just do that. It was not allowed in previous versions, but now it's allowed. It's really good. So okay, we are calling navvars, and we get an error because navvars doesn't exist. So I'm gonna go right here at the top. I'm gonna say const and then nav and then bars is gonna be equal to something, and then of course open and close. Again, we're going to be returning some JSX, so I don't need this. I'm going to open and close, just a parenthesis. So now this one is going to be returning a div, and we're going to be using a font awesome icon. So it's going to be div, open and close. We're going to pass it a class name for now. I don't know if we're going to use it. Doesn't matter for now. I'm going to say style and then bars. And I'm gonna be importing Font Awesome. So to use Font Awesome, the React Font Awesome, we need to import it. So I'm gonna say import and then Font Awesome. Remember that we've installed this previously. It's gonna be from and then React and then font, just like that, and awesome. I use Font Awesome the whole time. It works really nice. So we can, with Font Awesome, the props, we need to pass a name, and the name is going to be the actual icon. So we're going to use bars, just like that. And we should be getting the bars. 1 second, let me just delete this. I'm going to do a self-closing tag. And let me just debug this. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to check the link. So we have the image, and right here we have a span with the class FA and then FA bars. So we are kind of getting this. We get the logo. The thing is that the logo, if you notice, it's black. So we need to change the styling for this. So what you can do, you can grab this class, then point to Font Awesome element, and then just change the style. Or with the React Font Awesome, they give you the ability to give the styling, the inline styling. So we're gonna say style, open and close, and we're gonna say color, and then open and close, and then we're gonna put kind of a grayish color. It's not white. And if we check it, you know, it's there. Good. So what else? I'm gonna do a comma. I'm gonna do padding, and then the padding, I'm gonna give it a 10 pixels. And then I'm gonna change the cursor. And the cursor is gonna be pointer. And okay, so there we go. So, you know, that's good. Looks the same. Very good. So now we need to create now we need to create the side nav. If you notice, if we click right here, we're gonna have the side nav. So we need to give the ability to have an on click right here inside the icon. So whenever we click it, we're gonna just run a function that is gonna be showing the side nav or not. It's gonna be a little bit complicated right now. We need to use the state and the main layout and everything else. So let's go to the next section and start doing the side nav.